Oh, hey. Hello. Hello, hello. Welcome on back to the stream, everybody. Alright, let's give it a second, see if the camera's gonna work. Hey, there it goes! So, fun thing, it was not immediately working for me when I was trying to preview it before I switched screens here, so I was like, oh, well, okay, let's get the game fired up. Whoop. Alrighty, we need, which screen here? We need this one. There we go. There we are! Alrighty. Well, welcome back to the stream, everybody. Hope you guys are doing well. Happy Saturday. It has been a bit. We did not get to stream last week because I impromptu was like, I'm gonna go watch 2 movies. And even though I did them like earlier in the day, we still ended up being out because we had like other stuff to do as well. And of course, eventually having to eat dinner and all that. Exist as a person. I know, how dare I. Yeah, it meant... Whoa. That was not the sound of me dropping something on my keyboard. Actually it was, but yeah, so it meant that I got home late. Doing some lighting adjustments, don't mind me. So yeah, I got home late, and then by the time I got back, I was like, oh, it's like 8 o'clock. So yeah, that would have been awkward to start. Anyway, or actually no, I got back before then, but I had to like do some stuff at home. By that time I was done with everything, was like 8. So yeah. Anyway, that's what happened last week. And for this week, I believe we're gonna actually start the trial for our dear friend, fellow Japanese traveler. What was his name? He's a poet. He appreciates the literary arts, I know, because he was going to that used bookstore. I forgot his name. But yeah, we're gonna be defending him. They think he killed a woman in the street. I know, weird, but, yeah, so we're gonna defend him and be like, you had nothing to do with this. You can't just go pointing your finger at whoever. Although, very sus that he did run away from the scene. You can definitely see how that is, fishy to people. Anyway, that's besides the point. We're gonna defend him. We believe in him. And we're probably gonna do no more than one part of the trial today, so whenever it hits the to be continued. And even then, I don't know if we'll entirely get through all of the one part, necessarily. Only because one of my fur kids is sick. Momo is not feeling too hot. He was throwing up a lot this morning. So if he does that again, if he still has an upset stomach, I need to like go take care of him. So that could be either we take a little like few minute break in between, or we have to end early. We'll see. We will see what happens. We'll do our best to get through at least one part if we can. Or rather, to get as far into the one part as we can. We'll ideally try to finish it up and then, you know, hopefully resume next week. Alright, so, that being said, let's get right into it before we lose too much time. The Adventures of the Clouded Kokoro, Trial Part 1. Yes, let's go. February 9:23 a.m. The Old Bailey Defendant's Antechamber. Well, I never expected this. Who'd have thought we'd be back here again so soon? We are on a study tour of Great Britain with the intention of learning the country's legal practices. Sorry, I just realized I trimmed that earlier and then I had to untrim it. There we go. In order to research the latest court procedures here, we need as much court experience as possible. Well, yeah, I suppose that's true, but for the person in the dock, it may well be his or her one and only time in court, and it could be life-changing. In which case, treating it as research may seem a little crass. Oh, when you put it like that, you're quite right. Good morning! Who is this? Oh! It's our client. Ah, Mr. Natsume, good morning.
Oh dear, are you alright?
Your eyes are terribly bloodshot. The early bird catches the worm, as they say here in Britain. Yes, I've heard that expression. But I really don't want to catch a worm. So I tried desperately not to wake up early, but I was so worried I couldn't catch a wink. And now I'm absolutely exhausted as a result. Do all literary people take things so literally? Thank you for putting your faith in us today, Mr. Natsume. I wish I had 9 lives! My whole future hangs in the balance! Hey, speaking of 9 lives, by the way, check out Not Only 9. That was the game we played the demo of on Thursday, and it was a lot of fun. It was definitely a very cute demo. I'm not the best at the combat system. I'm pretty sure some other people will do better. And, you know, but it was very cute. I did like the kind of like, it reminded me a lot of like red maging, like the fun part of red maging, balancing the black and white mana. And the story itself in that game, very cute. So if you like this, you might like that. Go check it out. It's free. The demo's free on Steam. Check it out. Anyway, back to this game. Too terrified to tremble. I was like, wait, shit, I didn't read it. Really? Because I can feel tremors in the floor. I can't do this. I can't take it. Although, welcome student, Mr. Naruhodo, Esquire. Yes? I caught a glimpse of the public gallery as I walked by the courtroom. It looked like the opening night of the opera. There were so many people. I had no idea my case was such a notorious affair here in London. Oh, neither did I. You know why that might be, Miss Susato? Sorry, Mr. Naruhodo, but I have no idea. So that all-knowing look on your face is just a coincidence, then. Don't hide the truth from me! It's because of the Reaper, isn't it? Lord Van Zeeks? Is that right, Miss Susato? I purchased as many different newspapers as I could find this morning, and yes, Lord Van Zeeks is on the front page of every one. I knew it. Sometime after the prosecutor was dubbed the Reaper of the Bailey, he stopped appearing in court, it seems. Been several years now, in fact, until the day before yesterday. Yeah, Inspector Gregson told us something similar, didn't he? The trial 2 days ago marked Lord Van Zeek's return to the courtroom after a very long time. The trial of Magnus McGilded. Ugh, what a harrowing experience that was. Definitely not a potentially shady leprechaun, but don't worry about it. He's just a loan shark. Just don't think about it too much. I believe that appearance made even greater waves in the capital than today's. But we wouldn't have realized, of course, having only just arrived in the country. Why is the Reaper back in the Bailey so soon, for what appears to be a mundane murder? That's the question the papers are asking, and they are all speculating various answers. Mundane? Mundane? It's the most significant saga of the century to some of us! Oh dear, I meant no offense, Mr. Natsume, but that is how all the papers are describing it. Well, lest we also forget the fact that it could spark an international incident. Obviously, the reappearance of this infamous prosecutor has caught people's attention. But there's still another blatant similarity with the trial of 2 days ago. Yes, I agree. Locum student, Mr. Naruhodo, Esquire. It's you. Me? Well, I suppose that's true. Both times, it is you who stands against this legendary prosecutor. It can only mean that you're friends with the Reaper! How did you get to that? Dude, I've literally only been here for 2 days. How did you reach that conclusion? Please, I don't rub shoulders with Deathbringers.
I'm afraid that there's really only one other explanation. It can only be another example, Mr. Naruhodo, of your uncommon bad luck.
Rude. Thanks for that. Oh, this is just my luck. Why must I be represented by a man with such frail fortune? Hey, you are really happy that I decided to represent you yesterday when you had nowhere else to turn. You would have got stuck with him regardless. I'm just kinda here to help you out. By the least lucky lawyer alive! Well, let's not forget that it was you, Mr. Natsume, who asked me to represent you. Would you like me to leave? I could just go. We could just, like, forget this whole thing ever happened and I could just leave. Yes, it's true that I'm just a student, new to London, with little in the way of experience or skills, or luck, apparently. But I promise you this. I will fight your corner until the bitter end. I will believe in you, Mr. Oh, benevolent locum student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire.
You're not alone here with us, Mr. Natsume. Whatever happens, we will always be on your side.
Oh, benevolent, non-locum assistant, Miss Mikotoba Esquires. I am in your debts forever. I shall. How could you wrong me like that? I was still reading. Hold up. I shall never forget this great kindness for as long as I live. There we go. Mr. Natsume, counsel for the defense. The court session is about to begin. Kindly make your way into the courtroom at once. Alright then, Mr. Natsume, it's time. Let's go. Yes! This is it. My second appearance in a British courtroom. And my second trial against the Reaper. Was this like two chapters of like setup prologue and then like now this is like our second real case? Is that what we're doing? Is this game just gonna be like extra long? Because I feel like that's what we're building up to. I hope you're watching over me, Kazuma. Because this time, I won't let my faith waver. Believe in my client to the last. It's like you believed in me. I believe I can do this now. I'm ready for this fight. February, 10 o'clock a.m., the Old Bailey courtroom. Good old Bailey. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. I now call upon the counsels for the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed. Prosecution is fully prepared, my lord. The defense is ready, my lord. The Nipponese are a truly fascinating breed. Sorry, what? Do you have to keep saying Nipponese? That's like super racist. Lord Strongheart has told me all about you. That you are a student who arrived in London but 2 days ago. A mere amateur. You have a point? Being a compatriot, you feel compelled to try to help the accused, I suppose. Typical Nipponese arrogance.
Forgive me, but I do not believe arrogance is an appropriate description.
Sato-san.
After all, at our previous encounter, the defendant was found to be innocent.
Ah, blood wine. Should I be drinking when I do this? No, hold on. No, we're not Zeeks. We're playing as Ryunosuke. Never mind. Very well. And a most fascinating, if dark, trial it was, too. The tragic conclusion came later, of course. Here's to the acquitted and his unfortunate, violent end. Thank you, counsels. I see both sides are in fine fettle. Now, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, are you ready to carry out your duties here in court as impartial members of the public?
Hey, 21 Snakes, how's it going? It has been a while. How are you doing?
Oh, we get the same jury? No, wait, hold on. He was only one of them, but he's now juror number 1. He was like a different number. No, wait. Were you one of the witnesses last time? I don't remember. Jesus, it's been a bit. You never know when you might be down on your luck, but I believe in fair play for everyone. Okay, it's different people, except he might be the same.
Well, I must warn you, I'm rather more ruthless than I appear.
Oh, well, not to me. Sorry.
Oh well, not me.
What you see is what you get. I'm a peace-loving fellow. Oh, hey! She was there last time. Oh, wait, hold on. Let's see. Wait. Aren't you the wife of the military man, the landlord? Wait a minute. We encountered you yesterday, by which I mean 2 weeks ago. Been busy but doing good. What case are we on now? We are on case number 4, the Clouded Kokoro, defending Natsume Soseki, our fellow Japanese traveler and a poet. And Van Zeeks opened with, "Oh, you're only defending him because he's another Nipponese." And I'm like, first of all, rude and racist. Second of all, no. Natsume is very dramatic, and I kind of like it. Anyway, I'm afraid to say I think it's quite possible that mustached foreigner did the deed. Although, I see a problem with this jury because I think she's going to be biased as one of the landlords. So I'm like, this seems a bit problematic to me. Come on, what are we waiting for? No doubt he did it anyway. Sorry? Didn't quite catch that. Very well, let us proceed. Your opening statement, if you please, Lord Van Zeeks. Very recently, Great Britain signed an alliance with a rising power in the Far East. The accused in the dock today is a student from that same land, a certain Mr. Soseki Natsume. And while our country has extended this foreign student the warmest of welcomes, regrettably the kindness has not been returned. In fact, the student is accused of a most sinister act. Stop wasting wine and wine glasses! That shit's expensive! Rude. Hey, Chiriko. I know. It's like unbelievable, isn't it? Sorry, there's like a cat. Look, he just came up here. Let's find cat cams. Where are you? Oh, hold on. Camera, I'll fix you. Alright, there we go. Put your ass down. of plunging a knife into the back of an innocent woman who was doing nothing but walking down the street. A knife crime? I tell you from bitter experience, those are the worst. Bloody oath they are! Good job, Chiriko.
Just look at that sallow complexion and short stature. He's one of those dreadful Japanese.
Racist! Come on, let's get this over with. With me now, everyone. 1, 2, 3. I know, Chiriko. It's very not okay. I get it. Sorry, didn't quite catch that. Pray, forgive the discourtesy of smashing my hallowed chalice here in this great chamber. No, you're not forgiven. You've done this like multiple times. It was clearly intentional. If you were really sorry, you would stop. The Zeki Natsume is based on a real person, if I haven't picked up on that already. I'm not surprised, I just don't know who he'd be based on. I know, Chiriko. Very serious. Oh, shoot. Forgot to set something up. But, oh well. Allow me to call the first witness to the stand. Very well. Bailiff, lead the inspector in, please. Oh, he's got his chips. Your name and occupation, please. Yes, sir. Tobias Gregson, Detective Inspector at Scotland Yard. Would you please summarize the events of the case for the court, Inspector? The victim is thought to be a young woman in her 20s by the name of Olive Green. I beg your pardon, Inspector. Thought to be. Yes, having been stabbed in the back by her attacker's knife, the victim fell unconscious. That was 3 days ago now, and she's been comatose ever since. What? So I don't even know who she is for sure? Comatose, I see. But her life is not in danger? Fortunately for the Eastern student, the charge will not be a murder. Pray, elaborate on the details, Inspector. Sir, if I could ask everyone to look at the street map. As I mentioned, the incident took place 3 days ago, at around 5 in the afternoon. Happened on the pavement running alongside Briar Road, a wide thoroughfare for horse-drawn vehicles. Had not been long since stopped snowing as the victim. Wait, hold on. Read. Had not long since stopped snowing as the victim, Miss Green, was walking down on the street. Out of the blue, she was approached from behind by the accused and stabbed in the back. Was an actual author called Natsume. He was the author of I Am a Cat and Kokoro. Oh! Oh, that's really cool. Let's check that out. Sorry, I had to touch the cat. Luckily, the young lady's life was spared, and she's currently being treated in one of the city's hospitals. Being unconscious as she is, we've been unable to take a statement from her, of course. This is the case file with everything we know about the victim so far. Thank you, Inspector. Court will accept the documents as evidence, if you please. You've read one of his books and he was certainly an interesting guy. That is hilarious. I like how they actually based it on somebody. Alright, case file. A file containing an overview of the case and details about the victim. She was found with a knife in her back and is currently in a hospital, yet to regain consciousness. That is not new information, but let's see what the details are. Young woman... No, don't knock it over. Stop. Sit down. No, chill, Chiriko. Just chill. Hang out here. Don't be pushing things off the desk. Now's not the time for that. Alright, details. Young woman rendered unconscious following a stab wound in the back. Victim, olive green, female, stout build, early 20s. Location, pavement of Briar Road, east side. Reporting officer, Rolly Beat. The victim remains unconscious. Her name was gleaned from her personal effects. Other details are unknown. Apart from the single stab wound from the large knife, no other signs of injury were observed. The assailant was seen running away by the reporting officer and was successfully arrested the following day. It is not good for our client that he was seen running away from the scene, but he was a scared witness, not the perpetrator. Anyway, what of the weapon that was used? Sir, I have that here. It was removed from the victim's back. Ouch, that big thing is starting to make me scared to walk down the street now.
A heavy blade like that, almost anybody would have been able to stab the poor woman.
Even the scragged-looking Saseki-san, I suppose. Common or garden jackknife, I would say. Rather nondescript. Thank you, Inspector. The court accepts this blade as evidence. Jackknife added, a large but commonplace folding knife. It was found lodged in the victim's back. Now then, what do we know of the motive? Annual valuables, I presume? Save the game. Okay. Hold up, phone call. Sorry, I was having to buzz somebody in to deliver a package. Okay. Alright, game is saved. Money or valuables? Let's look at the jackknife. I need to know. Examine. Ooh. Oh, that just puts it away. Alright, open it again. But it's not pointed because the tip came off.
Oh, look here, Mr. Naruhodo. Just at the tip. Small piece of the blade appears to be missing.
You're right. Well spotted, Mrs. Sato.
I wonder what could have happened to it.
Yes. You don't think it could still be lodged in the victim, do you?
Oh dear, I do hope not. It sounds terribly painful.
I would imagine they would have taken it out by now. It'd be weird if they just left that in there. Also, what would it have broken on inside of her? That's definitely a question. Alright. From what we can tell by looking at the woman's possessions, it seems she's a poor student herself. Hard to imagine she would have had anything much worth pinching, my lord. I see. Well, in that case, are we looking at some deep-seated resentment toward the victim? I'm afraid I couldn't say. Apart from visiting second-hand bookshops, the defendant, Mr. Natsume, doesn't appear to get out much. At this moment in time, we haven't been able to establish any sort of connection between him and the victim. Yes! Yeah! What are we talking about? Why are we raising our hand? We're not in school, Yunosuke. Please. If theft and grievance had been ruled out as the motive, what reason could Mr. Natsume possibly have had for stabbing the young woman? Yet you arrested the man in spite of that, in a totally unjustified and heavy-handed way.
Objection!
You just tossed the whole bottle? Oh my god, you're offending me deeply. Pray forgive the discourtesy of flinging a freshly uncorked bottle to the public gallery. But your words have soured its hallowed bouquet. Money does this man have that he can just waste good wine? For it is you, my learned friend, who is being heavy-handed here. What? Me? Nah. Scotland Yard does not arrest people without good cause. That should be beyond question. Inspector Gregson, the prosecution calls for your formal testimony. Explain to the court precisely why the constabulary came to arrest the Nipponese student. Pray forgive the discourtesy of flinging a Molotov cocktail into the gallery. I know, very rude, right? What if it, like, you know, had hit these open flames over here and then, like, caught on fire and, like, you know, that would not be great. No, I don't think any of us would care for that very much. Yes, sir! Alright, Mr. Natsume's arrest. I said it was 5 o'clock in the afternoon when the incident occurred, and there was an unusually light fog. Visibility was reasonably good, and there was no one else about but the victim and the accused. Out of the blue, the victim was stabbed from behind and subsequently collapsed on the pavement. The accused ran off, scattering his belongings all over the floor. Those being a number of old books he just bought. He was on his way home from a bookshop, it seems. It was just a matter of working out who the books belonged to, and we found the bloke to arrest him. Old books, you say? Yes, my lord, I have a photograph here of the scene of the crime, taken immediately after the incident. Yep, that is indeed the knife in her. Although how, I don't know. Oh shit, I didn't even read it. No, come back! Hold up, I got you. History. Ah, yes, I can clearly see the books to which you are referring. I'll take that photographic print as evidence, please, Inspector. Crime scene photo added. A photograph of the scene taken by a policeman just after the incident occurred. A large knife can be seen thrust into the victim's back. The Nipponese are a spineless breed, too cowardly to admit defeat. Rude. Alright, let's look at the photo. I see a distinct lack of blood around her coat and that wound where the knife's sticking out. Just saying. Distinct lack of blood. Denying everything despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary. Well,
Forgive me, Lord Van Zeeks, but the defendant is not denying everything, as you put it.
What are you doing, Mrs. Sato? You go on.
Mr. Natsume had admitted to playing some part in the incident. Isn't that right, Mr. Naruhodo?
Well, now that you mention it, when we visited him in the prison yesterday, he did tell us what had all happened. As I was walking along that accursed pavement, I could make out the sole silhouette of another ahead of me. A woman wearing a green overcoat she was, and just as I went to overtake her, she suddenly let out a scream and collapsed on the cold, hard slams at the stone at my feet. I was terrified. I had to get away from there. So I ran as fast as my legs would carry me back to my accursed lodgings. Green overcoat. Well, that's exactly what the woman in the print is wearing. Oh my, a photographic print in full color. What will the world come up with next? Hey, the defendant has done nothing more than admit he fled the scene of a terrifying incident. He's a chicken, not a murderer. Or attempted murderer. That does not mean he's guilty of the heinous crime of stabbing the woman in the back. It just means he's a chicken. That's fine. That shit's scary. I get it. It's fine. There was nobody else there at the time. Just the two of them, the victim and the accused. In other words, there's nobody else who could possibly have stabbed the woman. Fact that the accused concedes. Ugh. It seems the cross-examination could prove to be pivotal, counsel. Proceed, please. Yes, my lord. Waiting for it. Have to use this cross-examination to turn the tables here. It's our only chance. Mr. Natsume's arrest. Alrighty. Press everything. Alright. A light fog, you say?
Well, light for London. You could see the opposite side of the street for once. Not much farther, though.
That's light, is it?
Around these parts, yes. Not something I'd expect a Japanese fellow like yourself to know, of course.
I read that London is famous for its fog. There's even a really tasty form of latte based on it. Well, tea latte. But in my country, people usually imagine that gives the city a rather beautiful appearance. And there goes the cat. How quaint.
Yes, well, it's not something us Londoners tend to romanticize, as I expect you can appreciate.
I see.
At this time of year, the fog causes a large number of accidents, especially when it's heavy. Sometimes you can't even see your own hand at the end of your arm. Indeed, the other day I was very nearly trampled by horses before I could see the carriage they were pulling.
Sato-san and I should definitely remember to stop, look, and listen. However, on the day that concerns us, the fog was somewhat lighter than usual. Fact no doubt lamented by the accused. Visibility was reasonably good. How are you able to state that with any certainty? Quite simply, my learned friend, because that is what the witnesses to the crime have told us. Ah, yes, Inspector Gregson mentioned the witnesses yesterday, didn't he?
That's right. One of them is a policeman, I believe, from Scotland Yard.
That is correct, Mum.
Aw, little baby slaps on the table. And we must hear their testimony! Prosecution will, of course, call them to the stand, should it be necessary. But, wait a minute. At 5 o'clock in the afternoon, in the middle of winter, it would have been dark already. No matter how light the fog might have been, no one could have seen street lamps. I'm unaware of the situation on your tiny island in the east. But here in the capital city of Great Britain, all roads are illuminated in the night by gas street lights. Ah. Ryunosuke gives off very big deer in headlight vibes. Prosecution believes there would have been ample light by which to witness the crime.
Right. Here in London, for the first time in history, mankind has completely conquered the darkness.
Which means we really need to hear those witnesses' statements. I could just get through the fog of this cross-examination, maybe we'll be able to. Seems the counsel for the defense is taking stock. Continue with your testimony, Inspector. And then she got stabbed!
Hold it!
From behind, you say?
That's right, as you can see from this print.
Where's the blood?
Yes, quite so, Inspector. The handle of the weapon is clearly protruding from the victim's back. Can you say this poor woman, Miss Green, remains in a critical condition? Comatose, no less. I'm afraid so, my lord. Yes, she's being treated at the Bots. I was hopeful that she'd come round before the trial started so I could take a statement, but wasn't to be. Yes, that is indeed a pity. It would have been most illuminating to hear the victim's own account of events.
Luck is on your client's side, it seems. Deer in headlights. Look at him. Oh, baby slap.
On the contrary, my client is exceedingly unlucky.
Her force of tone is seriously undermined by those disturbingly wide eyes, I'm afraid. And he ran off, leaving all the shit behind. Mr. Natsume's belongings?
I think you'll find it's all there in the photographic print of the crime scene. Yes, the 3 books on the floor. Hold on.
He did get 3 books that day. All right.
That's right, my lord. Second-hand books they were. Irreparably damaged after falling in the snow, of course.
The accused could have easily carried all 3 books in one hand, which means his other hand would have been free to wield a knife, for example.
He's very clever, isn't he?
What do you mean?
He's made it extremely hard for you to assert that Mr. Natsume had his hands full with those books. He's managed to close the one avenue of escape we might have had before we even knew it was there.
You mean to say that the defendant was holding his belongings as he thrust the knife into the woman's back? That must be what happened, my lord. Yes.
Old books, he was on his way home. The defendant apparently visits a secondhand bookshop on a daily basis.
Yes, so I understand. Shop full of old English literature.
I commend the accused on the lofty subject matter of his scholarly attention.
Oak's room was stacked floor to ceiling with those musty old books.
Can you tell us more about the bookshop in question, please, Inspector?
Well, if I must, I'll have to ask you to look at the street map again, I'm afraid.
Alright, where's this bookshop? Oh, it's on the corner, okay. Yeah, it's not very far at all.
The closest second-hand bookshop to the accused lodgings is this place here, Bourbon Books.
He didn't go to Bourbon Books. He went to your books. Which I imagine is probably on a different side of the road, so he would not have been walking behind the woman. Hopefully, if we're lucky.
A place on the corner of Briar Road and Mearsome Street. As it happens, the accused is currently living in lodgings on the other side of Briar Road at the opposite end. Which means it doesn't take a genius to work out the route he would have taken home. Something like this.
Local Maps information has been updated.
Yes, I concur with your conclusion, Inspector. The defendant would certainly have passed the scene of the crime on his way home from that particular shop,
Except he didn't go to that one.
Mr. Naruhodo, what the inspector just told us could turn out to be of vital importance.
Yep, I agree. The most important point that the inspector just made being the bookshop's name. Inspector Gregson, may I ask you a favor?
What?
Would you kindly add the name of the bookshop to your formal testimony, please? I believe it may be of vital importance.
Maybe.
Well, you know, I mean, yes! It could be a very important clue.
Very well, not that I can see it being of any great significance. But please revise your testimony accordingly, Inspector. Yes, sir, my lord. Whatever you say.
Can the man be any more sardonic? On his way home from Bourbon Books. We'll press everything first, then we'll go back and lay it into him. So the shop is called Bourbon Books, is it?
That's right. That's the closest second-hand bookshop to the accused lodgings. To get from there back to his room, you would have gone right past the very spot where the incident took place.
If I could just confirm one point, can we be sure that the defendant really did visit Bourbon Books on the day in question?
Well, we haven't actually confirmed it, no. You haven't confirmed it? Why the devil not, Inspector? Well, the thing is, shopkeeper's gone on a trip, you see. Morning after the incident. Collect more stock, I'm told. Oh, we, haven't been able to ask the bloke if the accused visited his shop on the day in question or not.
Well, in that case, what does the defendant himself have to say about it?
No recollection.
What?
According to the statement he made at the time, the accused had no recollection of where he'd been.
Of course he doesn't.
Though clearly has his head on the clouds whenever he's walking about town. He claims he just wanders into whatever bookshop he happens to be passing and rarely notices the name. I should say the man ought to learn to look where he's going at the very least.
So, it's just as I thought then.
Something the matter?
Inspector, you may continue with your testimony.
Don't worry, we'll get back to it. It's a matter of working out who the books belong to, and then they found him. You asked for the help of the famous detective, Herlock Sholmes, to locate the defendant, I believe.
Stuff and nonsense.
Sorry?
That Jack in the office, that busybody, comes and sticks his oar in whether we ask him or not.
But according to what I have here, Mr. Sholmes was shown to the scene by Scotland Yard detectives.
That was nothing to do with me. The lads at the scene must have done it, without my permission. I tell him it again. I tell him time and again, whenever something happens, send word to headquarters. And follow your bloomin' instructions.
I see. Woo! Those poor chips!
If that meddler gets his hands on any details, we'll all be reading it in the Rance magazine next month. You can bet your last farthing that I'll be in there too, stripped of all my hard work on the case. Yes, Mr. Sholmes. No, Mr. Sholmes. Aren't you clever, Mr. Sholmes? That's all the things I'll be getting.
Inspector, the man is proving detrimental to the Yard's activities. Perhaps I should step in and deal with him. Are you gonna murder a man? Because that's not okay.
No!
Appears Inspector Gregson is lost for words.
Yes, the Reaper's words carry a lot of weight, obviously.
Anyway, the point is, that little Japanese bloke's already admitted it. He's admitted that those books all over the pavement at the scene were the ones he bought yesterday.
What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo? You're unable to sway the jury during this cross-examination, I'm afraid.
That Mr. Natsuma's fate will be sealed? Yeah, they're sure to find him guilty. So, one way or another, I have to expose an undeniable inconsistency in the inspector's testimony. Alright. We're going for the name of the bookshop. Bourbon Books, you say? Except here I have his receipt from your books. Ready? Objection! Oh, he doesn't point. I could just stop you there, Inspector Gregson.
What is it, Sunshine? I'm a busy man, you know.
This is a receipt that we found in Mr. Natsume's room. It was issued on the day of the incident and details the purchase of 3 secondhand books.
And you found that in the accused's room, did you?
Yes, but the point is not where the receipt was found, but the name of the shop printed on it.
Go on.
The receipt was issued from a bookshop called Your Books.
Your books? Y-O-R-E, I presume.
Yes, my lord. So, Mr. Natsume did indeed purchase a number of books at a secondhand bookshop that day. However, the bookshop in question was not Bourbon Books.
Eh? What? Inspector, do you know of this other bookshop? Yes, sir. Your Books is another secondhand bookshop not far from Bourbon Books. It's just that... Well, it's such a small place, I didn't think the accused would have known about it.
But in fact, that is the bookshop which the defendant visited on the day in question. And this receipt proves it.
Objection!
Yes, for what difference it makes.
Wherever the man purchased his musty tomes, it makes no difference in the final analysis.
Hey, wrong? Determines which way he came from. I disagree. I mean, after all,
I have the street map here, if that might be of help.
Oh, yes, thank you. Have a look at this, please. If the defendant had been returning from Bourbon Books, then yes, he would have almost certainly passed the place where Miss Green was attacked. However, if we take into account the fact that he was actually at another bookshop, Your Books, it may very well turn out that he wouldn't have passed that location at all. Sorry, excuse me.
That'd be true.
My, it rather depends on where this other bookshop is, but I do declare it may be a possibility.
Is that right, Mr. Lawyer, sir? What you just said? Absolutely. It is absolutely could be right.
Inspector Gregson, where is this Your Books establishment? Well, obviously we looked into that. Turns out that Your Books, just here on the next corner of Mearsome Street, going east.
Ooh, so you can't really tell which way he came from. He could have gone either way. There you have it. As you can clearly see now, it's very murky and dubious which way he came from. We don't really know. He could have gone either way. Oh. My learned Nipponese friend is obviously in training to be a clown, the way he regales us with such witticisms. Your future career in the circus.
You put that glass down now, or I'll put it down for you.
I know, we're not clowns. So rude. We have interviewed clowns before, though. Other ones. Oh, he's the entire circus?
I didn't think I needed to spell it out, but go. The accused was coming home from Your Books instead of Bourbon Books. There's no doubt he still would have passed the place where the victim was stabbed.
No, he could have gone the other way. Why could he not have gone the other way?
Yes, thank you, Inspector.
Allow me to reiterate for my learned, if somewhat slow, Nipponese friend. Stop breaking! How many of those damn glasses do you have? Wherever the man purchased his musty tomes, it makes no difference in the final analysis. Ah!
As I suspected, you can't fool me, and I don't suggest you try.
What I say, eh? I've had enough of this now.
Beg your pardon? Terribly sorry, but would you mind repeating that? Mr. Naruhodo, you mustn't give up.
What do you mean?
If the prosecution's assertion is correct, the members of the jury may very well decide that Mr. Natsume is guilty.
Ah, he's absolutely right.
You must think. We must consider the assertions put forward by the prosecution very, very carefully.
They claim Soseki-san must have passed the location of the incident on his way home from your books, but there's an objection, obviously. We object to everything here. The assertion just made by the prosecution is fundamentally flawed.
Blame yourself, counsel.
Yes, my lord. You can see what I mean on this map. When returning from your books to his lodgings, Mr. Natsume could have followed the route suggested by the prosecution. Could have. However, that isn't the only conceivable route to take between the two places. If the defendant used these streets, look what happens. He arrives back at his lodgings without passing the location where the victim was attacked.
Objection!
Talking back to a clown is a fool's errand, of course. However, I feel compelled to point out that that route is what commonly referred to as the long way around.
Why?
Ah. On a cold winter's night, why would any man choose to take a longer route home?
Well,
The answer is extremely simple. He wouldn't. In other words, the accused took the obvious route back to his lodgings and is the obvious perpetrator of this crime.
but, ah! Yes, I've got it. Obviously, we must ask the man himself. Ask Mr. Natsume which route he took home. He said he doesn't remember anything, which is not very helpful.
I've already informed the court of the accused's response to such questioning. He claims he has no recollection. That's right. As I said, the bloke seems to spend his time outside wandering aimlessly from A to B. Our day was no exception, as he doesn't remember where he was or which route he took home.
But doesn't that just prove my point that he could have very well taken the long way home because he didn't really remember which way he walked. He was just wandering aimlessly. So he may not have known that there was a shorter route home. I don't believe this!
I thank you, my learned friend, and suggest that we do not waste any more of the court's time by wandering aimlessly around the subject. Pray, what say you, insightful jurors?
But even if that is the case, the defense still...
I agree with Lord Van Zeeks. Wholeheartedly and in every way.
What? I don't believe it! Does this mean...
We members of the jury are completely convinced now. Very well, in that case I hereby call upon all members of the jury to present your findings to the court. Shit.
Guilty. 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 Guilty.
Well, that went terribly.
Would appear the jury's leaning is unanimous.
Are we gonna do the thing again?
The insightful members of the jury, I applaud your brave resolve. You serve the Queen and country admirably.
Mr. Naruhodo.
No, not yet.
This isn't over yet. Still have one last chance to sway the opinion of the jury. I have to tip the balance of those scales the other way. I have to turn this around. Somehow. Those are the eyes of Corey, not yet willing to give up and die. So I presume you intend to wield your rights again in this trial? Rights of that offense written into antiquated British law that should have been buried long ago. Hell yeah! Call it antiquated if you will, but it's the defense's prerogative to carry out a summation examination if it so chooses. Very well, counsel. In accordance with the letter of the law, we shall proceed with a summation examination. Are the members of the jury ready, Mr. Foreman? Of course we're ready. I'm all too familiar with that Nipponese whippersnapper and his uncle's refusal to throw in his alley. Very well then. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will each explain on what grounds you have determined the defendant to be guilty. Alright, I actually need to feed the cats really quick, and I mentioned this at the beginning of the stream, but one of them is a little bit sick. He was throwing up this morning, so I need to make sure he eats properly. I'm gonna save, and we're gonna do a quick BRB. And... right back. Oh, I added something to the new break screen, so you can chill and watch that for a couple minutes. Alright. We're back. Strategies, the tactics. Ow! Momo just slammed me in the back of the head with his butt, so that was a thing. Beam!
Oh, beam!
Beam on me! Beam on me!
Oh my god! What? It's too strong!
So happy, yo. So happy, yo. Keep pouring
We
it
all
on.
need
Beam, beam, beam.
someone.
Easy on!
To be.
I'm so proud of you all.
Alright.
Typical. Most of the time these trees won't stop rustling. As soon as I need their opinion, then silence is golden. Thanks for the spirit wood. I think you've got some issues that we need to maybe talk about. Ooh, money though. Rude! Ah! I won't be able to spot a squat like this. What the heck's going on around here? Running for the hills! No pets or other animals allowed in the courtroom. Is there no formal job training? Did they just throw you into the fire and expect you to swim? Oh, wait, hold on. Throw you into the ocean and expect you to swim? Sorry, got my things mixed up there. Yes, what is it?
I believe we have found the man to whom the package was intended.
Look, you can swim in fire if you believe.
Come down and see it.
I can't see!
Oh no!
it just completely phased me out.
Fucked up. So fucked up.
I don't need this heartwarming moment. I need to fix this damn bike.
I need to fix this damn bike.
There's lots of fragrant magic water. I mean soap. See you tonight. What? Did you guys see that in the mirror?
You look pink. Tender and very cute.
Weirds me out a little bit that my Twitch profile icon is also pink-haired, so, you know. Why did she say tender? I don't know. Is she gonna eat us? Concerns?
So call you Sweet potato. It's nice. That's a food. You're gonna eat us. I think we're gonna die.
Same initials, that's not cool. Yeah, why'd you gotta bring that up? Killed Mr. Kitty. Jesus!
Retro way, right?
Way.
No way!
Perpetual way.
Perpetual way.
No way!
What?
Alright, go ahead and get blasted. Leave while we're in the center.
What are we doing?
How do I leave the group?
Why is this happening?
Oh,
Please grab the
Double-
watch,
it's a-
please.
This is a bannable offense? To my ears?
the cat.
Alright, burning down Brawler. Dude, well, not burning, we're tickling him. Okay, warp time.
High and low.
Fine. Okay.
Cheerio, Scout! Hope you're settling into your solo camping adventure. Don't be disheartened if you can't find a needy ghost immediately. I intentionally picked a safe island that's not too haunted. When you finally find a ghost, try to help it make peace with itself, and when you do it, you'll finally graduate to 2nd degree. Signed, Scoutmaster Blake. Yes, I'll write to you every day, unless I get busy. 1 common log cabin, large potted plant. Okay. Sir? Scoutmaster Blake. Hi. Hello. Parfait here. You certainly did not send me to a relatively unhaunted island where I might take me a little bit to find a ghost friend. You, in fact, sent me to a very haunted island of bears. Sir? One that curses people and traps them here. So thanks for that. And tombstone. Book! Book. Map? Book. Tombstone! Good job, us. I'm so proud of our Warrior of Light. Fucking tombstones. Huh? Could have been lying through my teeth this whole time. I mean, you could have. But listen. Have you tried the critically acclaimed MMORPG Final Fantasy XIV that comes with a free trial all the way through the award-winning expansion, Heavensward? Have you? I think that would keep you busy. Hey, guys, chat room. I want to point something out to you once we get out of this fight. I'll point something out to you guys so you'll never be able to unsee it. You see these trees I'm standing next to? Do these trees not look like a really buff dude who skips out on leg day? You're welcome.
Mr. Stickler shouts. At which point the victim turns his head to look. And the killer fires his pistol. And that's why the bullet hit him in the right temple. No contradictions, right?
We broke something, guys. Trucy became a block of tofu. It's like tofu percent in Resident Evil. We broke her. Tofu, what are you doing in this game? Look, look. Both made by Capcom. Both made by Capcom. I'm just gonna leave it at that. Help here. I need a savior to rescue me from this crisis. Right. I am back. Sorry that took a bit. Oh, okay, gotta wait for the camera. Alright, there we go. Sorry that took a little longer than being the cat that is sick is still not eating. Not the greatest, but figure out what we can do. Okay. Alright, let us continue for now. We're probably not gonna go super. We'll go as far as we can. For pity's sake, that little Nipponese oddity already admitted it himself, didn't he?
If he said that a woman in green collapsed before his eyes, why can it only have been the victim?
The man wouldn't have gone around the houses on his way back from the bookshop, not in winter.
So, the poor woman was attacked from behind, was she? How dreadful.
I really don't care. Can't we just wrap this up now? I've got work to be doing.
Huh? Your books, yes. Nice shop, that. The bourbon books? No, not worth a visit. With only minor exceptions, the reasons for finding the defendant guilty are all too clear.
When the stabbing occurred, the only two people at the scene were the victim and the accused. And the accused himself has admitted to seeing the victim in her green overcoat sink to the ground before his eyes.
Furthermore, we have heard from the inspector that the defendant then fled the scene. I must say, I would have ample grounds to convict this man already.
Oh dear. Even the judge appears convinced of Mr. Natsume's guilt now.
Like, doing adjustments. Too much? There we go. That's good. Right. Why did he have to run away like that? How are we supposed to believe in some phantom attacker that nobody could see? It's impossible. How can I possibly make a case for the defense?
Mr. Naruhodo, this is no time for grumbling. We want to force the trial to continue.
Yes, I know. I have to turn the tide. I must make the jurors change their minds. Well, 4 of them at least.
Exactly. We have no choice but to forge forward.
Have the floor, counsel. Begin your summation examination.
Yes, my lord. Ah! I just need to keep this trial going somehow, whatever it takes. Come on, Ionosuke, you can do it. The defense's rebuttal. That little Nipponese oddity already admitted it, he says.
Hold it!
Excuse me, but aren't you Bruce something was your name?
Yes, that's right. I was on the witness stand myself just 2 days ago.
Yes, I had a feeling I knew your face, or the side of it anyway. I remember correctly, you're a banker, aren't you? With a gambling problem?
That's right. After the gold rush down under, I came back to London to work. And it was all going swimmingly until you started fossicking around. Bruce Fairplay was a man of repute.
Sorry?
Don't think I've forgotten how you treated me the other day. You had me and that young hatter pegged as criminals.
Look! That's no reason to blame this guy for what's going on. One moment, doing some lighting corrections. There we go. Oh, well, you know, water under the bridge. Now, there's all sorts of rumors buzzing around, and the police have been badgering me non-stop. If I could turn back the clock. Well, anyway, I don't know about the Hatter, but at least I'm in the clear now. And free to make up my own mind about who's guilty and who isn't. Thank goodness. Alright, maybe I might struggle to change this man's mind, given our awkward history.
Oh dear, I wonder what's become of Mr. First now.
Why can it only have been the victim who collapsed in front of him? Yeah, good question. So why do you think... Oh, she may think he murdered someone else anyway.
Hold it!
You're right that at the time of the incident, the defendant admits to having seen someone wearing a green overcoat walking ahead of him.
Well, quite. That's precisely my point. Clearly, that someone wearing green was the victim. And clearly, that funny little Nipponese man with a disturbing mustache is the culprit.
But let us not forget, madam, the defendant vehemently denies attacking the woman.
Why, of course he does. If he admits to stabbing her, his life is over. The man is obviously a leather-faced coward. Honestly, claiming the woman simply collapsed before his eyes?
But if that's a lie, as you're suggesting, do you think he would have concocted something more credible?
Oh, I really couldn't say after all. I really couldn't say. After all, you are boring. What's to say what goes through your funny little minds?
Extremely racist. I could tell you what's going through my funny little mind right now, but you wouldn't like it.
I do declare, the man has already made that admission. He himself has stated that there was nobody else around. Surely the conclusion is obvious. No one else could have committed this awful crime.
Ugh.
No one else could have done it. The accused must be the man. Really, it couldn't be more simple.
Your argument is compelling in its simplicity, I must admit.
Oh my, you are too kind, my lord.
That went well, for her. Man wouldn't have gone around the houses on... Oh, sorry, we read that already. There's no way he would have gone the long way, except he was just wandering aimlessly, so he didn't know he was going the long way.
Hold it!
But you can't deny that there are other routes Mr. Natsume could have taken back from your books.
Oh yes, like you drew on the map, you mean? What was it? Calabash Road or something?
Precisely.
But it seems to me that what counts is whether the little Japanese fellow actually went that way or not.
Well, yes, that's true.
And at the moment, there's no proof that shows he did, is there?
Well, yes, that's true as well.
As I understand it, the accused himself doesn't remember which way he went, does he?
Well, yes, that's annoyingly true.
Winter nights are dark and cold, so the way I see it, you'd want to get home as quickly as possible.
Well, yes. Why is all this true?
So really, the only thing that makes sense is that he went home along Briar Road.
Like, I'm supposed to be convincing you here!
I've given it a lot of thought, you know. I didn't just make up my mind on a whim that he did it.
I mean, if there was some logical reason why he might have gone the Calabash Road way, it'd be different.
I'd be happy to reconsider my position in that case. Honest, I would.
Okay, hopefully the guy on the end who thinks bourbon books is trash and your books is like the greatest knows something about the preferred route to travel there. Huh, a reason why Saseki-san might have taken the longer way home.
Yes, a good reason. I don't imagine you'll be able to sway this young man's opinion without one.
We'll get there. You are the wife of the army man. Whatever's the matter, young man? You're the wife of Mr. Garidev, aren't you? The landlord who rents Mr. Natsume's room. Are you supposed... Is this allowed? I feel like the personal connection makes this, like, not the greatest pick. The master's wife? Where do you get your ideas, sir? I'm the maid. The maid, you understand? He's keeping up that charade. Ugh, this is gonna be awkward. Why didn't you mention this yesterday? That you'd been selected for the jury in this trial, I mean. Well, I was told not to mention it to anyone until the day of the trial, you see. It was in the letter I received. Instructions were very clear, so I'm afraid I had no choice. I see. Anyway, Mr. Natsume, the defendant, takes lodging in your master's house, doesn't he? Yes, that's right, although he's only been in a little over a week now. And in that time, surely you must have taken stock of his character. Oh, she hates him. We should not ask this question. Does Mr. Natsume look like the kind of man who would commit a crime such as this? She hates him. This is a mistake. Oh my goodness me, yes, he's just the sort. What? Hold you. Spending all his time in that dark and dingy room, sporting that unscrupulous mustache. The man never speaks. And don't get me started on those shifty eyes. All the neighbors are talking about him. I've heard them, you know. People think he must be building a bomb in there or something. Whose dingy room do you think it is? Whose fault do you think it is that it is so dark and miserable in there? You're the one who bricked up the damn window!
Oh dear. Poor Mr. Natsume. How could people say such things about him? He's just a harmless bookworm. Nothing more.
Well, you just called him a worm, so... Anyway, I'd better be careful about inviting this maid to speak. She said enough damning things already. He doesn't care. This man just wants to go back to work.
Hold it!
Hey, a man's life is on the line here, sir. This will take as long as it takes. Don't get clever with me now, son. My life's on the line too, and so is my family's. The likes of you wouldn't understand, but a laborer like me can't afford to take time off. If I don't work, I don't eat, and neither do the wife and kids. Oh, I see. That must be very hard. I go to the union every morning to find out what needs doing. You're late and the work's taken. It's tough. This time of year, there's water and gas supply pipes bursting left, right, and center. They're after cheap labor to get the roads dug up to fix it. It's hard slog from dawn till dusk, it is. So, you were out digging up the roads on the day of the incident as well, were you? That's right. Where's this road you were digging? In fact, if I remember rightly, it was just around the corner from where it all happened. By that old bookshop it was. Can you tell me more about that? What? Another coincidence. That's right, Meersham Street it was. So they're digging up pipes here, so he probably couldn't go this way. He would have to go around. Meersham Street.
On the map, Mr. Naruhodo, there are only 3 named streets.
Juror number 5, I need you to add that information to your formal statement, please. What's the point of that? Can't we just get this business over with now? Please, sir. It's important. Fine, I'll do it then. The day it happened, I was digging up Meersham Street from dawn till dusk. Put a pin in that. Let me get back to you in a sec. Your books. Oh, he hates bourbon books.
Hold it!
Huh? Sorry? Hold it, you say? Hold what? No. What I said was, hold it. What I wanted to ask was, do you visit your books often?
I like the old books they have in there, yes. I enjoy reading them over a nice cup of old tea. That's my daily routine, you see. Same thing every day, including the day you're all talking about.
And at what time did you visit your books on the day in question?
Well, I was picking out books in there all afternoon, and it would have been just before 5 that I left. That's my daily routine, you see. Same thing every day, including the day you're all talking about.
Can he verify status of the bookstore and who was there, maybe? And what possible construction was going on nearby? Just before 5, you say, exactly when the victim was attacked. Are you sure about the time?
Oh, yes.
Uh-oh, hold up, sorry. There we go.
No mistake there. I remember it well. I'm not about to forget that day in a hurry. Not after the dreadful time I had.
What do you mean?
Well, I was walking down Calabash Road when I slipped on the ice and dunked my head.
Oh! He's wearing a green coat. He's the man who fell.
Oh, it's worse after the snow stopped falling, and when it's most slippery. Knocked myself clean out, I did. Really thought my number was up.
Wait a minute. Let me get this straight. This happened on Calabash Road.
That's right. I live in Cornpipe, you see. Heading down Calabash Road is the quickest way for me to get back from your books.
Juror number 6, I must insist that you add that information to your formal statement. It may very well be extremely significant. Okay, we're gonna pit him against the girl who's like, green coat, that could be anybody.
Huh? Sorry? Extremely sick? No, I'm quite alright now.
This sends a shiver down my spine to hear the members of the jury so convinced of Mr. Natsume's guilt. But I can't help feeling that some of their opinions are rather subjective.
I agree. It's the irrelevance of what some of them are saying that sends a shiver down my spine. Still, at least some of their assertions don't actually incriminate Mr. Natsume of anything. That's something.
We must use that to our advantage, Mr. Naruhodo. Cunningly.
Yes, you're right. Let's listen to the jurors again, carefully. And if any of their assertions are at odds, I'll pit them mercilessly against each other.
Yes, don't hold back. Pit them all against each other.
Hold on, not you. You first. I'm gonna pit you against you. Alright, here we go.
Objection!
Those two statements are clearly at odds with one another. At odds, counsel. Explain yourself.
Please don't point. It wasn't me, I swear.
What? I just want to get this done and dusted. Well, juror number 3.
Oh, me, sir?
What do you mean? Juror number 5's words just now are extremely significant. Let's take a moment to consider the implications of what's been said on our map of the local area. On the day in question, Mr. Natsume visited this bookshop to purchase a number of secondhand books. And on the same day, we now know that there were works being carried out on Meersham Street, making it impassable. Which means the defendant's route home could not have taken him along Meersham Street and down Briar Road.
Oh, yes, of course. Wait, what do you think, sir?
Oh, yeah, you can't argue with that, really, can you? He must have had good 2 yards or more of the pavement up. Every gentleman and gentlewoman that came along had to turn back and go the other way. So, the only conclusion is this. The defendant must have taken the longer route back to his lodgings.
Yes, I suppose he must have.
I suppose that must be right, eh?
Juror number 3, you said the following. A man wouldn't have gone around the houses on his own way back from... gone around the houses on his way back from the bookshop, but we see now that he had no choice. Yes! My lord, Mr. Judge, sir, if I may.
Yes?
I don't think in all good conscience I can say the man's guilty now. Yes, I'd like this trial to continue so we can get to the bottom of what really happened. I like how we do this with launched fire, which is like precision launching and like could easily like put this whole thing up in flames at any moment. But we're still doing it because drama. What about you, sir?
Who? Me? Well, alright then. There's a hole in the prosecution's argument. It should be filled in. That's what I say.
Hey, we got 2. Beautiful. 2 for 1. Very nice, very nice. Good job, us.
Oh, well done, Mr. Naruhodo. That was wonderful.
Well, we've managed to change a couple of minds at least. Strengthen our position somewhat.
Yes, and it will prompt the other members of the jury to reconsider their stances as well. They'll be asking themselves if their current leanings are really right or not. Now, if only... we could just identify one more clue or discrepancy that would make them stop doubting Mr. Natsume. We might be able to chip the balance completely.
Yes, it's exactly what we've got to do. Van Zieks is looking to bring this trial to an early conclusion. That's what we have to prevent by whatever means we have at our disposal.
Thank you, counsel. On with the summation examination, please.
Yes, my lord. I have to say not guilty at this point, so I can see where this trial goes from here.
Whether it's digging up roads or digging up the truth, you've got to see it through to the end, haven't you?
Yep, we're not talking to you anymore. But we are going to pit you. A woman in green collapsed before his eyes. We're gonna pit you against this man on the end here who is also wearing green. He knocked himself out. Objection! Those 2 statements clearly show a flaw in the juror's reasoning.
What are you talking about, counsel?
Well, juror number 2? Juror number 6?
My, whatever do you mean, sir?
Oh, is this not right? Do I need to press them more?
I think perhaps the old man didn't hear you.
Unbelievable. It's not like I was loud or anything. There's at least one fact of which we can be sure here. The bookshop receipt found in the defendant's room clearly indicates on the day of the attack he had been to your books and purchased a number of second-hand titles. He then returned home on foot.
But the man says he has no recollection of his return journey.
That's correct. But what he does remember is seeing someone appear in front of him on the way. Someone in a green overcoat who suddenly collapsed on the pavement before his eyes.
Yes, we are all well aware of all this. The poor young woman who was stabbed, obviously.
Objection.
Can we really be sure of that, madam?
My, whatever do you mean?
I'm sure you heard juror number 6's account of what happened to him that day. That same afternoon, there was somebody else apart from the victim who was wearing a green overcoat and who fell over on the icy streets in the neighborhood.
Oh my!
My goodness, you mean... That's right. I'm referring, of course, the hard of hearing juror number 6.
Are you really suggesting that the person in the green overcoat whom the defendant saw collapse in front of his eyes was the jolly old gentleman on the end of the bench here with me today?
That is entirely possible, yes. After all, the old man has a somewhat similar build to the victim.
Well, look at that!
My goodness me!
Sorry? You need a pee? No? And crucially, we know precisely where the old man in the green overcoat fell.
In Calabash Road.
Therefore, if the person who Mr. Nodsmith saw collapsing in front of him was in fact juror number 6, it means the defendant must have taken the long route back to his lodgings. And if that's true, then clearly the crime scene on Briar Road where the woman was stabbed was not on his way home.
Oh my!
You idiot old man! If you hadn't been so daft as to be roaming about there, we would have boxed this off hours ago! And really, what were you thinking wearing such a befuddling coat?
What did you say to me? Is it a crime for the elderly to walk the streets these days, huh? Is it a crime to slip over on the ice? Is it a crime to keep up with the latest styles? Wear a beautiful green overcoat, is it?
My lord, I do hope it won't cause any inconvenience, but...
Like to change your leaning, I presume?
I do declare that I would. I should like to call for a verdict of non-guilty.
Thank you!
I would too!
What? Okay, cool, thanks.
Is it a crime to change your mind, is it? Well...
No, please do. Thank you! Hey... Lovely.
Well, that summation examination has concluded with a rather large shift in opinion. The ayes 2, the noes 4. So the noes have it. Not guilty, they say. Which means we no longer have a consensus among the members of the jury. Trial will continue.
Objection!
Shut up, Van Zeeks. How does his white glove not get stained? That has to be coated in something, right? Could it seem more churlish of me to drink from my hallowed chalice moments after raising an objection? Only to crush it in disgust. Pray forgive the discourtesy. Lord Van Zeeks? It seems I must retract my earlier remark. What do you mean? I mistakenly credited these jurors with intelligence by describing them as insightful. Yet we have just witnessed them falling for a cheap trick performed by an Eastern entertainer. Rude! No respect, this man. Eh?
Whatever do you mean?
Objection!
I haven't tricked anyone. Everything I've said is the truth. You're rude as fuck. Indeed, stalwart juror number 5 was undoubtedly repairing the road as he claims. I believe you said it was a good 2 yards of the pavement which you had excavated, sir. That's right. Took me the whole day and they paid me a measly 2pence for it. Now, my learned Nipponese friend, tell me. You have any notion of the distance that 2 yards represents? Well, if I'm honest, I don't have a clue, no. I was thinking about that when he said 2 yards, but then he said, like, oh yeah, everyone who, like, came across that way, they turned it back and they turned around and, like, you know, went the other direction. So I'm like, okay, it's probably fine that it's only a 2-yard hole, which is not very big. But apparently it is a problem, so.
2 yards is a little less than 2 meters.
Less than 2 meters? That's not much at all. In other words, a distance readily vaulted by anyone of moderate vigor. Do not agree, my stalwart friend. Eh? Me? Well, I can't say you're wrong, no. What?
And did you perchance erect a sign to prevent pedestrians from passing the site of your works? Ah! I wouldn't dream of it. What a waste of time. No coaches would have had hope of passing anyway, and we just turn any gentlefolk back when they come. Kids just jump right over us all the time. The accused is no gentleman as far as I can see. I have little doubt, however, that he could spring over a 2-yard trench in his meanderings around town.
Ha!
Is that true? Is it? Incontrovertible truth is that the books just purchased by the accused were found at the scene. There can be no doubt that on his way back to his lodgings, Mr. Natsume walked down Briar Road. Crushed in a single sentence. Shit. And old man. Old man? You can talk? Say that at around 5 o'clock on the day in question you slipped and fell on Calabash Road. Pray, was there a suspicious-looking Nipponese man behind you at the time? Oh, I can't say I remember. You don't remember? How about a wager, my learned friend? You say it was this old man that the accused saw? But I would lay 1,000 to 1 against you being able to prove it. Shit. Ah. Order! Order! Lord Van Zeeks, explain yourself. My lord. You had such a trenchant argument up your sleeve. Why in the world did you not proffer during the summation examination? I wanted to give this young foreign student the sightseeing experience he no doubt came for. I wanted him to see for himself how the opinion of the jury is so readily swayed. Ugh. But my hospitality has its limits, and they have been reached, I feel. So, my learned friend, today's sightseeing tour of London is now over. What? What are you talking about? My lord. Prosecution requests permission to call its next witness to the stand. Granted. Bailiff, bring forth the witnesses. Its next witnesses?
Sir Naruhodo, do you not remember? I've been told on several occasions that there were eyewitnesses to the incident.
Yeah, I remember. One of them being a Scotland Yard policeman, no less.
I'm afraid that's likely to be the prosecution's next witness.
Alright. No matter who Van Zeeks brings to the stand as his witnesses, and no matter what they say, I believe in Soseki-san. I know he's innocent. And I'll keep believing to the very end, till this battle is over. Cute. Witnesses, please state your names and occupations for the court. You strangled a man. Constable Rolling Beat, sir! Nothing to report on the street, sir! You okay, buddy?
And I'm Mrs. Beat. Patricia's my name. I'm proud to say I'm this young town's hero's wife.
What's the story here?
Well, in truth, we've not been married long. In fact, we celebrated our first anniversary only the other day.
No. It was your husband I was asking about. He seems tired. Hardly surprising.
Whilst being an honorable occupation, patrolling the beat is the most demanding work in the world.
Oh, really? I'm sure I've heard that before, actually.
Indeed, apart from rare days off, our gallant officers trudge some 20 miles a day, you know. They patrol boarding houses and pubs, collect taxes, survey the streets, check that meters are reading true, and they're responsible for keeping the streets clean and lighting on extinguishing our street lights.
They put a lot on their shoulders.
There are a number of items on that list that don't sound much like policing duties at all.
I wouldn't just be falling asleep on my feet. I'd have collapsed long ago.
It goes without saying that a policeman's primary duty is the apprehension of criminals. Even when he's off duty, a constable is expected to investigate and resolve any crimes on his beat. The London Bobby is a man of honor.
And a man of slumber.
The day in question, this man and his wife were walking down Briar Road in the opposite direction, and they witnessed the incident as it occurred. That not correct, Mr. and Mrs. Beat?
That's right, sir. Isn't it, Rolly?
Constable Rolly Beat, sir! Nothing to report on the street, sir! What a great witness he's going to be.
Very good. I'd like to hear your formal testimonies now, please. You will tell the court exactly what you saw on the afternoon of the incident.
Yes, sir! And he's out. What the witnesses saw.
It was our wedding anniversary and Rolly was taking me out for a meal. There was no time to change after work. Anyway, two silhouettes appeared out of the fog on the pavement in front of us. All of a sudden, one of them just collapsed on the floor, and the other scattered something before running off. He ran straight over, of course, and then went for help at a nearby police box. It was definitely that Japanese man in the dock. Rolly and I both saw him as clear as day.
You just said you saw a silhouette and then he ran off.
Well, this is extremely compelling testimony, I might say.
Oh dear, this policeman and his wife are claiming to have positively identified Mr. Natsume at the scene. Their testimony is true. The alternative course of events that you established in the summation examination will be quashed.
It's death knell, in fact, because that alternative was never viable in the first place. What an unfortunate bit chancing, and on your wedding anniversary too.
Oh, I know, but I still managed to go out for the evening with my man. I thank the Lord for that. Gosh, the life of a London Bobby sounds very hard indeed.
Indeed. However, this cross-examination will be over in minutes. You may well have time to rest this afternoon.
What do you mean by that?
My learned friend, the witnesses saw the face of the man fleeing the scene. They are testifying under oath that it was without a doubt the accused, Mr. Soseki Natsume. And one of these witnesses is a policeman, no less. So you appreciate the gravity of the situation, I'm sure.
Except that the man's so tired, his wife had to do all the talking.
Enough preamble. Counsel for the defense, commence the cross-examination, please.
Yeah, yes, my lord. Alright. It was their wedding anniversary, they were going out to eat. No time to change after work, you say? Are you also a member of the police, Mrs. Beat?
Oh no, sadly not. It's a job for strapping young men only. Women, children, and the elderly can't even apply.
Well, I think you can probably see why children and the elderly can't do the job, can't you?
I think Rolly looks ever so handsome in his uniform. It suits you down to the ground, doesn't it, darling?
Huh? What? I just finished my beat. Pat and I were heading back to the station. I was actually planning on getting changed there. Is he talking in his sleep? This is creepy.
Oh no, Rolly, I much prefer you in uniform. Sometimes I don't recognize you when I see you in plain clothes. Oh dear, that doesn't seem healthy.
Kindly adhere to the point. You are going for a meal after you had finished your beat for the day, correct?
That's right, sir, yes. Although I was fit to drop, to be honest, after spending the whole day on my feet. But policing is my life, sir. As long as I'm proud owner of this, I'll serve my city and my queen to the end. What's that now? My warrant card, sir, proves that I'm a London copper. Has the noble founding principles of the force written on it, as a reminder to all us policemen of our sworn duty. Patrol the streets of London town and uphold the peace of the common man. Sir, and for such a noble cause, I cover 20 miles every single day without fail and without a grumble. Because I know that the plodding of my boots is all Londoners need to hear to feel safe and secure. So, fighting crime doesn't appear to come into it then. But sir, just on that one particular day, I was looking forward to celebrating my wedding anniversary. Mrs. Beat puts up with a lot of being married to a bobby like me. I wanted to show my dear wife how much I care. Oh, Pat.
Oh, Rolly.
Look how their eyes sparkle and shine.
Oh, what a charming couple. Their young love is such a joy to behold.
If a little over the top, perhaps.
And then, kindly describe what happened next.
Ugh. Two silhouettes appeared.
Hold it!
Two silhouettes?
That's right, they were coming towards us walking up Briar Road in the opposite direction. It was a rather plump figure followed by a scrawny, thin-looking man. That does sound exactly like the victim as pictured in this print, and like Mr. Natsume.
Yes, unfortunately it does. You're certain that at the time there was nobody else nearby?
Oh yes, quite certain. It was dark, but there are streetlights on Briar Road, you see. There's nobody else around at all. Isn't that right, my darling?
What? Ah, yes, that's right. Of course there was a light fog on the ground. But Briar Road is dead straight and you could see a fairly long way down the pavement. And then there's the street lighting as well. I didn't see any other... That's rude. Making me yawn, dude. Before sleep takes a firm hold, your answer, please, Mr. Beat. Quite sure of what you just said? Yes, sir. As a copper who spends all day every day keeping watch on the streets, I'd swear to it, sir. I'm as sure as my love for Patricia's true. Oh, Pat.
Oh, Rolly.
Huh. You're still maintaining there was no one else around other than the victim and the attacker. It's starting to seem like that must be how it really happened.
It's beginning to seem like there's nowhere to run.
Well, that didn't stop Mr. Natsume, did it? He fled the scene all too convincingly.
Thank you. I believe we have a reasonably clear idea of the situation just before the incident now. What happened in the crucial moments that followed?
One of them collapsed and the other scattered shit and ran.
Hold it!
Huh, scattered something? What do you mean by that?
Oh, well, I couldn't quite make out what it was at the time. Then we got closer, we realized what it was. Didn't we, darling?
What? Ah, yes, that's right. It was some old books.
I see. Old books.
Yes, sir! The culprit had dropped a number of them all around where the victim lay on the pavement.
Indeed, as clearly pictured here in this photographic print.
Yeah, it's not great.
That rotten Japanese man did that when he did the deed.
Let's not forget that it remains to be established that the defendant was indeed the attacker. But we saw him! It was the man in the dock, without question, sir! The mustache, the hunched back, the cat-like eyes, the taut mouth, the snub nose, everything! Any more insults you want to throw in? Quite rude.
That's right, he looked down at that poor defenseless woman with those terrifying, intense eyes. And then suddenly threw his books onto the pavement and ran away.
I see. This is tough. They seem as though they're telling the truth here.
May I remind the court that this unambiguous testimony comes from a policeman and his wife? Now please continue.
Yes, sir! He ran straight over. Went for help.
Hold it!
Was it your husband who went to fetch help?
No, I went. I may not be a police officer myself, but I'm the proud wife of one after all. Isn't that right, my darling?
Sounds like she's cracking his back every time she does that, so maybe it's not so bad. What? Ah, yes, that's right. I asked Mrs. Beat to go. I was off duty by that point. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Shit. Hold up. I saw the stream go down for a second. Are we okay? Uh-oh. Let me check. Maybe it was just my frame rate dropping. Seems to be okay. It doesn't look like Twitch DC'd us, so I think we're alright. Hopefully nothing was missed, but just in case. Looks okay? Okay, cool. Okay, I think it's just dropped frames for whatever very strange and odd reason. Oh, weird. Let me just do a couple things just in case those are the issue. Alright. Continuing. I was off duty by that point. But a Bobby's never truly off duty, of course, so I felt obliged to stay and guard the scene.
Very laudable, Mr. Beat. Preserving the scene of a crime is a task of considerable importance.
I know, the frames are on the floor. The poor frames! Won't anybody think of the frames? Quite sad. That's why I sent Patricia, you see. I told her where to find the right police box. Forgive my ignorance, but what do you mean exactly by the right police box? Depends on a crime's location, you see, as to who deals with it. Where the woman was stabbed wasn't actually on my beat. I told Patricia the way to the police box for the beat the incident fell under, so she could go and report it.
I ran there as quickly as I could and asked for help from the Bobby on duty. There's nothing more potent than a young couple in love working together, you know.
Thanks to your swift response, the case was quickly resolved. The actions, 2 model citizens.
Oh, please. You're making us blush, isn't he, darling?
Yes, sir! What Patricia said, sir! Let's move on, shall we? Definitely, she's saying it was definitely Natsume.
Hold it!
But surely you wouldn't have been able to see his face by the light of the gas street lamps, would you?
We absolutely could. Us Londoners have exceptional eyesight, I'll have you know.
Right.
The light from the street lamps was more than enough. My husband already told you that the fog was only light, didn't he?
Huh. Yes, and what of the fog?
We're famous for it across the globe, I believe. But it's an absolute menace to those of us who have to live with it, of course.
Oh, it is, it is. When it's thick, you can't even see the hand at the end of your own arm.
Yeah, alright, I take your point. Now, could you stop shaking your husband about? I feel really bad for him.
Constant fog makes our eyes very sharp, you see.
I somehow doubt that.
That's why we can tell you for sure and certain that it was that little Japanese man we saw. Can't we, darling?
What? Ah, yes. It was the accused and no mistake. The mustache, the hunchback, the cat-like eyes, the taut mouth, the snub nose. Unmistakable, sir! As far as this couple's testimony is concerned, there can't be any question. It was Soseki-san they saw running away from the scene of the crime. So that's it, is it? That's their entire testimony?
What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo?
Well, I hate to admit it, but on hearing the testimony, it really does seem as though Mr. and Mrs. Beat saw what they say they saw. Mr. Natsume running away from the scene on Briar Road that day.
Yes, I feel the same.
So if that's true, where does it leave us?
Members of the jury are sure to call for a guilty verdict after this testimony.
Oh no, then what do we do?
Kazuma-sama, we're here.
What are you trying to say?
I think you would try to find a contradiction somewhere else within their testimony.
What do you mean, somewhere else?
Their statement about seeing Mr. Natsume is unequivocal. Calling that into question won't help. But if you could identify some other part of their testimony which appears to contradict the facts, you might be able to discredit them, to make the jury doubt if the pair's memory of the day is accurate.
Oh, right.
But simply, we must focus on finding a discrepancy in these statements somewhere. If we don't, I'm afraid the trial may reach an early and unfavorable conclusion.
Alright, what do we have? Down with the knife in her back. Yet to regain consciousness. Why do I always seem to be so up against it?
Mr. Lawyer, sir, can I ask you something?
Sure, what? Oh, yes, of course. What is it?
Well, you keep asking us all these questions about everything we've told you, so... It seems like you don't believe our testimony. Is that right? Is it? Well, out with it.
What? No. Oh no, it's really not that at all.
My husband's a policeman, remember? And I know what I saw. I remember every last detail. Everything. Like... Oh, I know. What about the books the man dropped?
Oh yes, please do tell me.
I could tell you the names of every single one I could. Every single one.
That's perfect, please do. I'm sure it's gonna be wrong.
And you dare to question how reliable my testimony is?
That will do, Mrs. Beat.
No, it won't do at all. That Japanese lawyer has no idea what I'm capable of. Even if I decide to forgive him for insulting us, don't think for a minute that Rolly will.
I really didn't mean to cause offense. Please put your husband's fist down. Perhaps you would like an opportunity to supplement your testimony, Mrs. Beat. Might that appease you?
Oh, thank you, my lord. That would settle things nicely. Wouldn't it, darling? I could even tell you the names of the 4 books he dropped
At the scene. Or you say. Let's press it first. This will be fun. Yes, we know there were books dropped at the scene of the crime, as you say. Those purchased by the accused at the nearby secondhand bookshop on the day in question.
After I'd been to the police box for help, Well, I decided to have a good look over the area for good measure. I am a proud policeman's wife, after all. I did it for Rolly.
And what was your husband doing at the time?
Oh, he was lying face down in the snow, getting some well-deserved rest. He works ever so hard, you know. Ever so hard. Don't you, my darling?
Interesting way of guarding the scene of the crime. Well, Mrs. Beat, seeing as you've regaled the court with the tales of your powers of recollection, would you be so kind as to recount the titles of the books you observed at the scene?
I'd be happy to. Now, are you all listening? There was The Picture of Monsieur Somebody or Other, and What's It Yearnings? And there was, A Meal for Someone. And the last one was definitely The Thingamy Something.
Picture of Monsieur Lecoq, A Meal for Gaboriau, and Canterbury Yearnings. But none of this thingamagummy something. What is that?
You see?
No, I don't, actually. Yes, I see there are 1 or 2 holes in your memory.
Oh, well, they were along those lines, I'm quite sure.
There were indeed books found at the scene with titles along those lines, as you put it.
Well, what did I tell you? So I think it's very mean the way you've been implying that my testimony can't be trusted. Don't you agree, darling?
Anyone who upsets my Patricia will have to answer will have me to answer to. Terrifying. Yes, she really is. That's it? Is it? That's their entire testimony. What do we think? Yeah. She feels the same. This is the same as before. Oh no! Find a contradiction. Focus on finding a discrepancy. Alright, here we go. This is the one. 4 books, you say. 4 books. 4 books. Okay. You sure about that? Objection! So, you're saying that there were 4 books?
That's right. I remember all of them. Picture of monstrous somebody. What's it yearning? Some meal for someone, and the thingamy's something.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Beat. But there's a fundamental flaw in that statement of yours.
Oh no! What flaw?
Simply that at the scene of the crime, there were only 3 books, not 4.
What?
Have a good look at this photographic print of the scene of the crime. As you can clearly see, there are only 3 books, unless there's one, like, right there.
But no, that can't be. I saw them. Oh, I know what it is. Yes, you can't fool me.
Sorry?
It's a big old lump of a dead body. The lady's so large, her corpse is blocking the view of the 4th book, that's all.
I knew you would say that. Let's at least try to remember that the poor woman isn't dead, even if we're insulting her size. No, I'm sorry, Mrs. Beat. But Mr. Natsume could not possibly have dropped the 4 books you described.
Why not?
Fascinating. And from your assured tone, something you can readily substantiate with evidence, I presume? Ah, evidence. Counsel, you will present evidence to substantiate your claim or withdraw it. Ah, we got evidence, we're good. What proof do you have that the accused did not drop 4 books? His receipt.
Take that!
The evidence is right here, in the form of this bookshop receipt. From your books? Yes, this receipt details Mr. Natsume's purchases that day. But as you can see, only 3 books are listed.
No!
Therefore, Mr. Natsume would only have dropped 3 books at the scene of the crime. Which means that your powers of observation, madam, cannot be relied upon. So, it cannot be denied that though you say it was the defendant you saw, you could very well be mistaken.
Oh no! Oh no, oh no, oh no! No!
Objection!
What? What do you want now? It's plainly evident that it is your powers of deduction that cannot be relied upon, my learned Nipponese friend. What? What cannot be denied is that these 2 witnesses saw the accused running from the scene. A fact that you know very well you have no hope of disproving. Ah. So you've striven to avert attention from that by dint of some inconsequential discrepancies. Would that be fair? Ugh, he sees right through me. Your plan is somewhat recoiled against you. What are you talking about? It's quite simple. Let me explain with a toast. To the policeman's wife and her entirely accurate testimony. Every respect.
Oh!
Are you gonna say that the 4th book belonged to the victim? Because that's entirely possible and what I was thinking about. You see, the matter is not up for debate. At the scene on Briar Road, a total of 4 books were most definitely found.
Objection!
But what about the photographic print? It only shows 3 books. Quite right. Only 3 can be seen in that print. That print? You mean to say? Stop wasting shit! This man, rich people. Can you believe it? Allow me to present another, one that shows the victim's hand. The Lion's Pride. See, I don't believe it. It's the 4th book. As you will observe, the 4th book was hidden from view in the original print by the victim's torso. Oh. Ow! Order! Order!
There, you see? You see? Look at that! Look, look, look!
Yes.
Just like I said, isn't it, my darling?
Yes, sir! Patricia's always right, sir! You must have a very complicated marriage. Let us study the receipt for the books purchased by the accused on the day in question. Mrs. Beat, the titles once again, if you please.
Oh, yes, of course. The picture of Monsieur somebody or other.
A picture of Monsieur Lecoq.
What's it, yearnings?
Canterbury Yearnings.
A meal for someone?
A meal for Gaboriau, in fact. The court has just heard. The witness remembers the book's titles flawlessly, save for a few minor details. Mrs. Beat's power of recollection can only be described as exceptional.
Did you hear that, Rolly? The gentleman paid me compliment. Yes, sir. Flawless, sir. Patricia is flawless.
But there are only 3 books on their seat, and Mrs. Beat mentioned 4. That doesn't matter. The victim. There's nothing surprising about that. Clearly, the 4th book is that which is shown in this photographic print. I'm sorry, counsel, but does that not seem odd? Why should the 4th book be omitted from the receipt? Not odd at all, my lord. It belongs to the victim. Why is there a chunk out of that book? You guys see this? There's a chunk out of this book. That's weird. The photograph clearly shows the 4th book was found in the victim's clutches. In other words, it belongs to the victim. Someone took a bite out of the book. Yeah, I know, it's weird. Apparently the lion's pride means the lion got hungry and ate his own book. The victim was holding her own book?
I wonder what became of that 4th book.
Obviously, it wasn't overlooked by the investigation officers at Scotland Yard. I have it here as evidence. We'll submit that in the aforementioned photographic print to the court, please, counsel. My pleasure, my lord. Second crime photo of the scene taken by policemen just after the incident. It specifically shows the victim's hand. 4th book, a book entitled The Lion's Pride, discovered in the victim's hand at the scene. Prosecution rests. I have nothing further to add. Okay, but I want to look at this new stuff that we just got. Ooh, took a bite out of this book. It's weird.
Let me see. It's a book entitled The Lion's Pride.
I'm afraid I don't know any English literature at all. So it wouldn't be something I've heard. Wait a minute. Lion's Pride? That's strange. I think I have heard of a book by that name before. Very recently, too.
The title I recognize too, Mr. Naruhodo.
Why? Oh, did I forget something? I must have. The heck happened to this book?
Oh, look at this. The book has been badly burnt.
Right. You'd never be able to read it in this state. Especially not the later pages. The latter pages.
A terrible waste.
Didn't somebody have a fire nearby at their house?
Judging from the scorched edges of the paper, I think the damage must have occurred very recently.
Huh. Book recently damaged by fire. Why does that seem to raise a red flag with me? This belonged to Mr. Garideb. Weird. Back cover is badly burned. Nothing further to add. What? Seem surprised, my learned friend. Your resistance until now has been in vain. Entertaining, yes, but futile. The spurious longer route to the accused lodgings that you try to establish in your summation examination, and the attempted discrediting of the witnesses' powers of recollection in your cross-examination. Futile? I walked right into this, didn't I?
You see, everything we've said is true. Isn't that right, my darling?
Yes, Pat! Marry me, Pat! You're already married. So, perhaps the ladies and gentlemen of the jury would like to reconsider their positions? Should the court waste any more time on this Nipponese travesty? Or is the decision you have to make all too apparent already? You've heard all of the witnesses and seen all of the evidence. This trial has run its course.
Mr. Naruhodo, I'm afraid we're in a terribly precarious position.
I know, but if I fight back in the wrong way now, I could very well just make matters worse. Think, Ryunosuke, think. What do you do now? Save? Save. Alrighty, do we have anything we can raise an objection about? I'm pretty sure this does not belong to the victim, and it in fact actually belongs to Mr. Gaudy Deb. Book was missing. Look at people. This is a maid, retired army man, landlord. Old knee injury means he's confined to a chair most of the time. So how did his book get outside, though? Olive green. She looks like she could be their daughter, honestly. What can we raise an objection to, though? The only thing that's bugging me right now in particular is the book. Oh, and the fact that the knife is blunted, which is weird. Let's try raising an objection, see what happens. Worst that happens is we lose a thing. I'm not done yet. No, my learned friend, it's over. That last cross-examination was your final chance to establish a credible defense. You failed. The die has been cast. There is no more room for debate. Well, it might be over as far as you're concerned, but... I can't think of what to say.
I may, Lord Van Zeeks. It seems somewhat boorish to close down the debate at this point.
Your insignificant little Eastern Isle must be a lawless hole indeed. For a lowly judicial assistant to have the audacity to intervene at a moment like this.
Oh!
I am, to my shame, still a very inexperienced lawyer. So you will have to forgive me, but I consider my assistant's advice essential and her opinions invaluable.
Mr. Naruhodo!
One of this land's great guiding principles is tolerance, so the court will hear you, madam. Go ahead, Mrs. Sato, please. Very well. Pray, what insight can you give us? What have we all overlooked in this matter that you see fit to pursue further?
Well, the court has been presented with new evidence, but only after the last cross-examination finished.
I see. And you believe that this new evidence warrants further examination, do you?
Mr. Naruhodo, what do you think?
Yes.
It's just possible that this new evidence might be the decisive proof we've been waiting for. The judge is sure to ask the members of the jury to announce their leanings in a moment. Of course, he's sure to ask you to explain what the crucial piece of evidence is and why. So we must take this opportunity to examine the newly presented evidence as thoroughly as possible.
Yes, I understand. And thank you, Mrs. Sato. Hold up, is there any way we can prove this doesn't belong to her? Like, can I open this and look inside the cover maybe? No. Nope, it's just the burn and then the title. Okay. Well, we did what we could. This is it. Sasato-san has managed to win us one last chance here. I can't let it go to waste. The defense wishes to present evidence, my lord.
Very well. The defense might present one further piece of evidence. Evidence that apparently offers a profound insight into this case, and has hitherto been overlooked.
The missing tip is weird, but it didn't update in the evidence. However, we did just say that we were talking about how we got new evidence, so it has to be one of the new pieces, I think. Let's try this one.
Take that!
The evidence in question is what we can see from the newly presented photographic print of the crime scene. The fourth book, found in the victim's hand.
Objection!
Have already discussed the fourth book at length. Other than it being in the victim's grasp at the time of the incident, no significance has been attached to it. Pursuing the matter further would be a flagrant waste of the court's time, as you well know. Yes, I'm afraid, counsel, I must concur with the prosecution on this matter. When I afforded you this opportunity, you led the court to believe that the evidence in question contained a hitherto undiscovered clue. I must insist that you elaborate, counsel. You will identify this clue at once. Why make myself clear? Oh, yes, my lord. It's,
Mr. Naruhodo, I believe the prosecution is trying to avoid a thorough examination of the evidence, which means you may very well be on the right track.
Yes, I think you might be right.
So, counsel? Precisely where is the vital clue to this case which the fourth book conceals?
Try this.
So much.
Yeah, that's right.
Such a pity. Do you see the flaking edges of the burnt pages, Mr. Naruhodo? I think that's a sure sign the damage occurred relatively recently.
Yes, a book damaged in a recent fire. That definitely rings a bell.
Got it!
I would ask the court to observe the back of the book in question.
Back? What are you? Good gracious! It's been burnt to a crisp!
So we have to ask ourselves, why was the victim clutching what is clearly an unreadable book? It is undeniably an extremely unnatural thing for her to have been doing.
Objection!
Unnatural, you say? What of it, my Nipponese friend? Oh. Were I to concede the point, if it bears no relation to this case, there's nothing to discuss. So, should you wish to assert that this fire damages some veiled clue as to what happened that day? Pray, do enlighten us all. What truth does this charred book hide? Charred book. There is just one possibility here, which I can't quite bring myself to rule out. It's an outside chance, and certainly, but worth a try. Alright, I'll explain my theory.
Don't keep us waiting any longer then, Counsel. Explain this theory of yours. What are you suggesting that you can ascertain from the fire damage the sorry tome has suffered?
Its owner. Shop that sold it, its owner, or its content. The owner. My lord, the burn on the back of this book reveals a startling truth about the book's owner.
I beg your pardon?
But we already know who the book belongs to. The victim was gripping it in her hand as she fell to the floor. After all, it's obviously hers.
The question of how this book came to be in the victim's hand is yet to be answered. However, as to the question of who the book really belongs to and where it originated, the defense has a very credible answers.
Good gracious, how can he possibly?
Very well, I'll play along with this futile attempt to delay your inevitable demise. But do remember, the members of the jury may well burn you if your little game goes awry.
Counsel, the defense's response here is very likely to influence the final outcome of this trial. So tell the court, who do you claim is the owner of this burnt book?
Deb.
Take that!
The answer is that the book belongs to the couple who owns the house where the defendant has his lodgings. A certain Mr. and Mrs. Garideb.
The landlords?
And whether this is some extraordinary coincidence or some kind of fate at work, I don't know, but all the people in London, one of the 6 chosen for the jury duty in this courtroom today is none other than Mrs. Garideb herself.
Oh my goodness! Me? I think you must be mistaken, sir. I'm not Mr. Garideb's wife. I'm his maid.
Things would be so much easier if you would just drop the pretense. Alright, then how about a simple question for you? Have you ever seen this book in Mr. Garideb's house?
I would never presume to know all the books he keeps, sir.
Objection!
This is outlandish behavior. This woman is the accused landlady, you say? You implicate this hard-working member of the public. You besmirch her without a shred of evidence. Your actions are unforgivable.
Objection!
This is not mere conjecture. The defense happens to know that on the day in question, at almost exactly the same time as the victim was stabbed on the pavement below, another incident was taking place in the room on the top floor of Mr. and Mrs. Garideb's house.
Good lord, what sort of incident, counsel?
A fire, my lord.
Right to say it was. Happened in the blink of an eye, you know. Whole place filled with smoke. Couldn't see a bally thing. Didn't take long for the fire to spread, of course. The bally furniture started going up as well. Worst of it is, I lost my favorite. Called the Lion's Pride. That is what he said, isn't it?
The Lion's Pride.
By Jove, that very same title is the very same title that's the subject of this debate.
Yeah, no shit.
Oh, dear me.
Objection!
This is risible. All you've told the court is that a book by the same name was involved in a fire, in which case it would be reasonable to assume it was burnt to ashes. And entirely unreasonable to infer that it magically removed itself to the scene of the crime.
Perhaps it would make more sense if I told you that the cause of the fire was marital discord. Without going into details, it appears that Mrs. Garudeb was considerably enraged. Apparently, she continued to attack Mr. Garudeb even amid the flames.
Oh, how awful! I can't even imagine being so horrid to the one you love. Can you, Rolly?
Absolutely not, sir! My Patricia would never raise a finger against me, sir! And all my favorite novels in that case. And as soon as the fire got hold of them, that was it. Whoosh, up in smoke. And the wife started hurling things at me. There was I back up against the window under heavy enemy fire. Suddenly there were books incoming 10 to the dozen. And had his back up against the window, and he had burning books thrown at him. Goodness gracious, are you suggesting... Did she get knocked out by a book being thrown, and then a knife that lost its tip had also gotten thrown, and then just coincidentally ended up in her back? Is this possibly, perhaps, what may have happened? And that book was thrown through a window and landed coincidentally at the scene of the crime?
Objection!
No. Thorough investigation of the surrounding area was conducted the very evening of the incident. There's no report of the Garudeb's window pane being broken. That's quite true. We also saw no sign of broken glass when we visited the Garudeb household. But is it not conceivable that the window was open at the time and... Not even remotely! Let us not forget the season and the chilling weather that accompanies it. No Londoner would ever leave a window open in the middle of winter. Okay, except if their house is on fire and they're trying to get the smoke out. Ah. Does the defense postulate the scenario in all seriousness, counsel? You earnestly claim that the book found at the scene was a flaming projectile thrown by Mr. Garudeb's wife? I believe it's a possibility, my lord. That's quite enough. Who said that? That's quite enough. There we go. Well, I hope that everyone can see you for what you are now, you little foreign trickster. You call yourself a lawyer, but you're just a coward. A mean coward. Really? Claiming that our little tiffs set the whole neighborhood alight. Honestly. Implying that I'm merely posing as a maid for appearance's sake. How could you? It's nothing to do with this beastly case, not any of it. All you've done is sully your family's name. No, I assure you that was never my intention. Dragging an upstanding citizen's name through the mud simply to divert our attention from your failing defense. I should box your ears, that's what I should do. It's utterly unforgivable. Do right. Here we go. How long have we sat here now listening to this Nipponi spouting out his fancy foreign theories? But think about it. At the end of the day, the only person who could possibly have stabbed the victim is that little hunchback with a mustache, and he ran away from the scene too.
I do declare you're right.
It's true. Yes, what did I tell you? Makes sense to me. Sorry? What's that? Well, it would appear that the ladies and gentlemen of the jury are once again in full agreement. What is your position, Lord Van Zeeks? In truth, my lord, I feel these have been unnecessarily protracted proceedings. But then, one must always exercise patience in order to savor the best vintage. Oh, wait! The mystery of the fourth book still hasn't been... That's a shoe. Rude? How dare you damage the furniture? If books are your prediction, my learned friend, study them on your own time. Alright, well, hold on. He didn't say prediction, did he? Predilection. Sorry. Like, hold on, that didn't sound right. But no, forgive the discourtesy this time. You're just gonna be rude and, like, not even apologize for it. Not that you really meant any of those apologies to begin with. In that case, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, will now state your individual decisions regarding the defendant's culpability for the court to hear.
Guilty.
Guilty.
Guilty. Guilty. Guilty.
Guilty.
Well, F. Thank you for that unambiguous response. Shit. That's twice now, it's over.
So Naruhodo, don't give up.
Mr. Sato?
Have you forgotten? The battle isn't over yet.
You're not suggesting...
Of course, the defense has the right to another summation examination at this point.
We're gonna do this again? We're gonna do the song and dance again. Alright. Let's do it.
You could still convince the jurors to change their minds. You have one more chance.
My lord. The defense asked to exercise its right to a summation examination. Huh. Believe you still have tricks up your sleeve? I don't intend to trick anybody. I intend to uncover the truth. This is no time to be downcast. As long as there's a chance, I have to stay strong and determined. Ooh, to be continued. What good timing. I do need to go check on my poor sick child. Alrighty, we have saved and hold up. Oh, we're not continuing. Let him gavel. Let him gavel. I'm gonna go in the options. Alright. That is going to do it for us for the evening. You guys enjoyed that. It was nice to be back. After not being able to play last week. Doing things, being a person. Let's go find someone to raid. Over to twitch.tv. Let's see. Link's playing Splatoon, and oh look, we haven't raided Neoneka before. Neoneka's raided us a few times, so let's go bother my friend Neoneka, who is playing Genshin Impact. Here. Alright. Thanks y'all for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed Ace Attorney. We will be back with more very soon, very soon. We will do more next week, assuming everything goes well. I am doing something on Friday, which hopefully won't affect my Saturday. I think it should be fine. I can't imagine why it would, so. Yeah. Thanks to all the Largus Charters VoD watchers, people who stopped by. Appreciate you all, including YouTube VoD watchers. Appreciate y'all too. Have a great week. If you're not already following the stream, go ahead and hit that follow button if you'd like to see more. We should be resuming next Saturday as planned. But for now, have a wonderful rest of your week, you guys. Our next scheduled stream is going to be tomorrow night for Final Fantasy stuff with our free company. We're doing more of... What are we on? Nail Van Darnus in eye level. Spicy rating. Alright. Now, have a great night, everybody. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate y'all very much. Hope you guys enjoyed the new break screen. And I will see you guys next week. Right? Bye, everybody. Good night. Bye-bye.